Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Drained. And this is a new horror romance from writer-director Peter Stylino, and who co-wrote this film with Sean Cronin. And this film stars Rorid Aldington as Thomas, our main character, who falls in love with the alluring Rhea, played by Madalena Baleru Eon, and she is a vampire. And he becomes drained by her actions and becomes gravely ill. And this film obviously is dealing with some very poignant thematic elements of abusive relationships and toxicity, sexuality, of vampirism, and how that all fits together. And how a toxic relationship can become so isolating, you become so dependent on them, and you're literally sucking the life out of you. You feel disconnected from your family, and you feel those elements as Thomas tries to reconnect with his family, who realize, hey, like, this is not healthy. Which is the point where, like, there's a point where, like, she straight up was, like, licking blood off his fingers, and it's just like, and the, like, mother and, like, stepfather, so at least the stepfather, like, well, that's weird. It's such a strange experience, because on some level I feel like this film at times is like, oh, that's weird, but okay, whatever. But then also it's like, you're absolutely crazy for believing vampires exist. I'm like, character 2 scenes ago was just watching this woman, like, drinking blood off this dude, and just like, oh, that's weird. And those kinds of elements are a little inconsistent with the story. I do feel like a lot of the narrative isn't very, it's not fresh or interesting. They don't really take any storytelling elements and do something different with it. You kind of see where this film is going, but it works to reinforce the themes and ideas of what is going on here. And you see pretty obviously, like, this is about toxic relationships and the dependency that we develop with people. And even no matter how bad it is for our health, we keep crawling back and letting them suck some more. And obviously this deals with a lot of fantastical elements with vampires, and I think the makeup and the blood and stuff like that is well put together. I think when this film tries to be a little bit more, like, out there with, like, flying and stuff like that, it looks really bad. Like, this is a pretty low budget film, and you can tell, and those elements is just like, I don't think we really needed that, because that did not look good. And it kind of takes you out of the film at those times where a couple of them were, like, really powerful and supposed to be meaningful moments. And also there's one moment that I'm just like, I don't think that person would have survived that. But, it happened, and it kind of looks silly because the effects were bad. But it's one of those kinds of films that I think it has some good performances. I do think Rhea is very alluring, and we can see why she can keep pulling these men in. And I think Thomas, Aldington's performance shows a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, and you have him experience, like, withdrawal at moments and stuff like that. And, this film sure throws in some, like, cliche, like, oh, he's out of his mind and mentally ill, and throw him into an asylum kind of thing. But it's one of those kinds of things where I think there's a lot of power in what it's trying to say, and I think the performances are rock solid and help pull those themes out and explore them. I think this has its moments that are really unnerving and disturbing. And when it tries to veer away from too many special effects, I think it's for the better, at least, CGI-wise. But at the end of the day, I think this is an interesting, rock-solid kind of horror romance that explores some interesting themes with some solid performances and some blood and guts. It certainly has those, so if that's what you're looking for in your vampire flick, it has them. And by the end, it's an interesting commentary on the cycle of abuse and where this all goes. But those are my thoughts on Drained. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.